So I wanted to make a video showing you guys how to install the Bad Ace Tactical long eye relief scope mounts. Now what I want you to understand is they're all going to be a little different depending on the rifle you have. So what you see here may not line up to what you're mounting one of these on. If you have a Mauser, they're all pretty much the same as far as like K98, M48, VZ24, Turk 98 Mausers, things like that. But like Mosins, K31s, stuff like that is going to be a little different. So do understand you'll want to follow your instructions. The main focus of this video that I wanted to help you guys with is understanding how to adjust these. So in the interest of time, I have already removed the rear sight and the leaf spring. They are tough on a Mauser sometimes. They're in there pretty tight, and you do have to remove the upper handguard. So we've done all that. We've got everything installed. Now, one other thing, you'll notice when you order your mount, and it comes with all the tools and all the parts you'll need, except punches. You'll need some punches. Brass punches, and a drift punch, and a hammer that won't mar up your gun. It comes with a little T-post T-nut thing with a Torx screw in it. And what it does is it drifts or slides in the rear sight base where the leaf spring is. Now, if you read your instructions, and I'll even show you guys all the instructions that they come with, the Mauser rear sight has 3 holes. So, if you look at it like this, you've got A for the adjustment screw, 1, 2, B adjustment screw, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 is where the screw for the T-post goes into the rear sight and locks it down. If you read the instructions, it's going to tell you, oh, just smash it in there till it stops, put the rear sight, the scope base on in the rear where the rear sight was, and everything should line up. It's not going to. You will have to play with this. So I would run it in pretty close to where it stops, test fit your mount, see if everything lines up. I have already fit everything and lined everything up in the interest of time and the interest of noise. So we got our T-post in, we slid it in, we got our mount. Gonna slide the pin in. If you have everything adjusted correctly, the pin should go in with hand pressure. Now, this does not bottom out into the base. So there we go. The rear sight pin, or the scope base pin, is in where the rear sight pin used to go. We're going to take our Torx screw and we're going to lock it down. Put a little bit of Loctite on it. I've already degreased all these screws in the interest of time, but you'll want to go through and do that. Isopropyl alcohol will work just fine. They do send some Loctite with it. I just kind of dip out of my own supply. Now, depending on what rear sight hold down screw hole you used is going to dictate which adjustment screw hole you use. So now, where mine landed, we have to use the longer adjustment screw. They do come with, let's see if I can show you guys this. They do come with 2 different sizes. I will have to use the long one. What you'll use just depends on the rear sight base you get. So read your instructions. They're very good instructions. We'll just snug everything down. We don't want to tighten it down all the way. We're going to run the set screw down until it stops. So right there is good enough. Now, I have already put the optic in the rings, and I've already leveled the optic and torqued the ring cap screws down. Just follow your manufacturer's instructions for your rings. If it's not in the box, go on their website. I guarantee you they will have some instructions. Now, if you read the instructions that came with the mount, it's going to tell you to use a bubble level on this. Fine. However, just because you have the rifle level and the scope mount level does not mean that's going to work for your optic. Because again, these long eye relief optics do not have a wide range of adjustment. You may run out of adjustment. So that's what we're going to take care of. So, I'm going to go ahead and tighten these rings down, but I'm not going to snug them. Just going to get them on there tight enough where we can carry the rifle around and not have the scope go flying off. Good enough. And I will see you in my kitchen. I'm going to show you guys how to bore sight these things and then adjust your rear mount or your scope mount to compensate for the limited range of adjustment you're going to have in your long eye relief optic. So stick with me, I'll see you in just a second. Okay, so we've got our scope base installed. In the interest of time, I've already set the rifle up in the vise, so we've got it locked down. I've got the scope caps removed. You'll need to take the bolt out for this because we're going to be boresighting it. And you'll need all your requisite tools, including your torque wrench. So, I have an agave out in the front of my house. That's about 40 yards away, and what I've done is I've looked down the bore and I have lined up that agave inside of the bore. Okay, so it's perfectly center line in the bore. So now, think of your elevation adjustment on your scope as having 3 parts. Break it up into thirds. You have a bottom third, a middle third, and an upper third. What you're trying to achieve when you boresight your rifle with your long eye relief optic is you're trying to achieve the point to where you have the bottom third of your adjustment available to you. So when you're boresighted at 25 or 50 yards, or somewhere in between, you basically want the turret to be kind of in the middle, so you have plenty of room to go up or plenty of room to go down. Because what's going to happen is if you sight in at 25 yards and you're dead on, and you move out to 100, you're going to be high. Well, you'd hate to be bottomed out at your adjustment at 25 yards with the mount. And that is where adjusting the mount's going to come into play. So, I've got us on the agave pup. I'm looking at the trees on the other side of the road, so I know that our scope is too low. So, now I'm bottomed out. I cannot get my scope all the way down to the agave. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take the scope off and we're going to have to adjust the mount. Now, think of scopes as living an opposite day. If you need to go down, let's say you need to move your point of impact down, the reticle actually goes up, okay? And if you need your point of impact to go up, the reticle goes down. So, if we're still too high, we cannot actually get the reticle up or get the reticle down. We need to bring the rear of the scope up to tilt the scope forward. So, we're going to loosen up the adjustment screw, and this is a trial by error type of thing. It's not going to be right on the first time. So I backed it off a couple turns. Then I'm going to turn the adjustment screw down, and you can actually see it move. It's pretty dramatic. I'm actually going to back off on that a couple turns, tighten the mount back down. Okay. You don't have to go ham on this. You can just kind of snug everything up. It doesn't have to be real tight. We'll tighten it up real tight once we're set where we want to be. So we're going to snug the scope rings back down to the mount, to the base, the mount, whatever you want to call it. We're going to turn our turret down. We're going to try to get back to about the middle range of our adjustment. Check our alignment down the bore. The agave pup is still center line in the barrel. And perfect. We are in the middle range of our adjustment. So now, we'll just check alignment one more time. Even the windage looks good, so no need to touch the windage turrets, and the windage turret is in the middle range of its adjustment. So now, we got everything set here, so we're going to take the scope off one more time. There is a torque value on this screw. It is 15 inch-pounds. So, if you haven't used a torque wrench a lot, I would be very careful in how much you tighten that down, because it will strip pretty easy. So, from here, if you want to wet mount your optic, you can. You'll just torque down your rings to whatever the manufacturer recommends you torque them down to the mount. Head to the range or boresight it. Take plenty of ammunition with you because, you may get to the range and find that that's still not good enough. You may have to do some further adjustment. It really just depends on the rifle, the load, all that kind of stuff. So I hope this helps you guys. I know these mounts are fairly popular. I do see quite a few of them now. They're pretty much the best made option out there for putting a scope on a military surplus rifle. And I hope this kind of takes the mystery out of getting these to work for you. So stay tuned. We're going to have some videos coming up with this rifle as well. Got some 200 grain Sierra Match Kings, some 198 grain FMJ boat tails. These do have BDC reticles in them, so we'll try to extend the distance a little bit and do some 8mm Mauser load work up coming here soon. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.